So without further ado, number one, the future is not set. Now, there's a very important reason why I started with this particular point. Our beliefs about an autistic person's future have a direct impact on how we behave around them. And understandable concerns such as he will always struggle with this, she will always struggle with this, often become quite limiting assumptions such as he will never, she will never, they will never. And even if we're talking about subjects that the autistic person genuinely does struggle with, we can't afford to place ceilings on autistic people's potentials by pretty much predestining the things that they are supposed to struggle with. Taking me, for example, like you heard, I was first assessed for autism at the age of 4 after my playgroup leaders reported to my parents that, oh, bear in mind, I was Christopher back then. Still am if I'm naughty, but they said, Christopher doesn't socialise with all the other children, he just sits under the table and eats the Play-Doh. In my defence, Play-Doh does taste amazing. But anyway, it was 1989, and we were very much still in the Rain Man days of autism understanding, and my parents were told that I couldn't possibly be autistic because I didn't have severe learning difficulties. I was then assessed again at the age of 10, and I read the report a few years ago. It was a bit of a bittersweet read. It was a little bit funny. It listed all of the symptoms of Asperger's syndrome that we know and love today, and finished it off as, and this is a direct quote from a professional educational psychologist, slightly odd personality. Yeah, thank you. But taking the positives from that, have you ever noticed how you have never met an adult who claims to be completely normal, bog standard, average, boring? Maybe it's just me because I spent my adulthood hanging around teachers, but most of the adults I've met take a certain level of pride in saying, oh, I'm a little bit odd, I'm slightly weird, but I'm the guy who literally has it in writing from a professional. So, yeah, with apologies for the sudden mood change, the report written about me at the age of 4 years and 3 months, I can't find a better phrase for it. It was basically a damning report into my developmental delay, and I'm going to show you some quotes from it. So this was written about me at the age of 4 years and 3 months. Abnormal behaviour and concern about developmental delay associated with delayed speech. Poor eye contact and interaction with peers is poor. Notice they don't use the word difference, they use the word poor. Comprehensive language skills appear around the 3-year level, whilst there is significant delay in expressive language skills functioning around the 2.5-year level. So I was the better part of half my lifespan behind in terms of expressive language skills. He acts much younger than he is, and perhaps most hurtfully of all, I think Christopher is very content to be a loner. I know that plenty of autistic people like being loners. That's cool, fair play to them. I personally love socialising. Autistic people are actually extremely sociable, generally speaking, if we're allowed to socialise on our own terms. But I don't like the fact that it was pretty much predestined as I was supposed to be a loner. Now, when I read that a few years ago, I'm not going to lie, it hurt. I had to keep reminding myself that 20 years later, this boy became a primary school teacher. And this loner now leads a team of staff at his local Boys Brigade company. By the way, who here has heard of the Boys Brigade? That's why I love Australia. It's one of many reasons I love Australia. But for those with their hands down, we are the people who invented the Scouts and taught the Scouts how to go camping. Their marketing department is bigger than ours, so they're bigger, but I don't feel bitter about it at all. You see, I do get sarcasm. Anyway, I'm now company captain of the local Boys Brigade rather than this loner I was supposed to be. And I don't mean to brag. Who am I kidding? I do. But this 4-year-old with the expressive language skills of a 2-year-old last year graduated with a master's degree in creative writing and passed with a distinction. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, there's an important lesson here, and the correct response to this isn't, oh, Chris, you've done so well, because I was 4 years old. At that time of my life, it was the adults around me who decided what my future was going to look like. And I'm very grateful that I was surrounded by parents who saw me for who I was rather than for who I wasn't, and by and large, teachers who defined me by my strengths rather than by my weaknesses. Of course, the adults around me could have spent my childhood years mourning over all of the bad stuff and being pessimistic, and then being surprised when I didn't reach my potential for some reason. So the future is not set, and it's certainly not set at the age of 4 years and 3 months. In my opinion and in my experience, our futures start to get decided when we start to make decisions about what kind of adults we want to be.